Welcome to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. Wow, what a day it's been today, non-stop all day long. The progression of the medicine that I'm working on for the first time ever is amazing. It's in a form of a tea. It's here. It's incredible, and it was channeled. So for the first time in my career, I'm going on to something that you can digest. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that another day, but everybody's thus far incredible. Well, spirit is incredible. Let's see, eh? Let's see what you think about it. Anyway, what we're talking about today, I thought we should talk about something that can help you along your journey of life, strengthen it, and that's healing. There's many forms of healing, many forms of practices, many forms of energy that we work with as well, which is quite fascinating when you start really getting into it. What does that mean, Mark? What do you mean by that? Well, there's the energy of Mother Earth. So there's a lot of healers, shamans who work in the nature, and they retrieve energy from what they call I don't know, we call them garden spirits, right? There's so many names for them. And then there's other forms of energy, which is the universal energy that comes from all around, and that we pull in, which is an energetic field, which is extremely powerful if you are able to do that. And then there's the very special energy that I call the spirit world, who at times come along and join in with a healing session. Fascinating, really. And I didn't really understand it at the beginning. I was just doing the work, and people were saying, "My God, I can't believe it. I've been back to the doctors and it's better." And they said, "What have you done?" And I went to see a healer guy. "Oh, well, keep going then." And the biggest line that they ever use is, "Some things can't be answered." They see, doctors are not allowed to say, "Well, it must have been the healer." They can't do that because then they get fired. So they can't say that. So what else can they say? Well, some things can't be explained. Well, of course they can't, mate. No problem. I don't mind. I just, at that time, just thought, this is beautiful. Like coming home feeling really excited, thinking people are feeling better after this healing that I'm doing. So let me keep going. Let me keep trying to understand it. In fact, let me try and get better at it. And over the years, I realized that for all this kind of manipulation in the world, everybody's looking for diagrams, charts, scrolls, ancient texts, and they're all looking for a really complex kind of understanding that makes their mind feel at ease. And their way of, I've been studying this for 100 years, so I know what I'm doing. It's all nonsense. And I realized that was put there deliberately. A lot of the shamans, the healers, the psychics said, well, that's there deliberately to only allow certain people into this field of work. The rest of them just can't be bothered. I didn't buy into that. What do you mean by that? Well, if it was that easy and everybody knew, then they'd all do it. And your point? Why shouldn't everybody do it? If everybody learned how to heal, the world would be better. And they wouldn't need me or you. We'd all be doing it. Isn't that beautiful? So I spent most of my time trying to teach people how to self-heal. After a healing session, they'd ring me back and say, "Mark, I don't know what you did, but I feel better." And then they'd say, "Would it be any chance that you'd come and show me what to do, or could I come to you?" And I said, "Well, I'm not really a teacher." "Oh, well, just can I watch you?" And I said, "Okay, you can come and watch one day." I'd ring the clients beforehand and say, "Look, if I knock 50% off, would it be okay if somebody watched?" And they'd say, "Yeah, no problem." Some say, "Well, I'd rather not, Mark." And I'd say, "No problem. It's just somebody's wanting to learn today." So then I stopped ringing people up and then just said to certain people, "Okay, well, look, my clients obviously don't really want anybody else being in the room. I said, but what about if, I charged you for, a couple of hours, and then I can bring people, or you can bring people, and then there's no issues then, and then we can do the session. I can teach, I can show you what, you can just watch me, and then I'll give you a brief breakdown of what I do, and that would be the start for you to continue your journey of healing. A bit like a 2-hour first aid lesson. And people were so excited. So I started doing that a lot. I really enjoyed it. And I realized, actually, I'm not a teacher at all. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. There's no teaching involved. It's just, this is what I'm doing. I didn't see it as a teacher, so I felt better, because I had issues with teachers. I don't want to influence anybody into doing anything and saying what I'm doing is right. So I just showed them, and I said at the end of it, look, what I've showed you isn't set in stone, because my method changes from moment to moment, depending on what client comes in, what's happening, and there isn't a set pattern. And I thought, why am I doing this? Because I'm not actually teaching them anything that they can go away and use. That's the brain kicking in. Shut up. That's you be programmed, Mark. Let it go. So I learned to let all of that go and realize that was nonsense. But I explained to people that every single beautiful human being who lays down, whether it's a child at 6 or 7 years old, whether it's a grandma at 95, or a bustling, busy businessman who comes in for his quick fix, didn't matter really. Everybody had their own issues. So what I learned to do is home in on those we call blocks. A lot of people call blocks, and people struggle with that. What does that mean, block? Well, really, it's an energetic field which is disrupted inside, which vibrates at a very, very dangerous level at times and can cause physical issues. There you go. Can cause disease. Sorry about the noise. It's downstairs garage. So yeah, that's how it kind of started really, and then it grew and grew, and then the next thing was, could you come to Rome? Could you come to Ibiza? Could you come to Sweden? Could you come to? Okay, yeah, okay. And then there'd be a group of people, and I'd start showing them what to do. Try this, try that, try this, watch me do this, watch me do that, give that a go. How does that feel? Does it feel good? No. How did it feel for you? What did you first feel? What did you want to do? I wanted to do that, follow that, do this. And I soon realized that teaching people how to heal was basically teaching people to have confidence in believing in their own actions. Now, how can you do that with somebody when they said, well, I've never done this before, you have to train for 50 years. No, you don't. When you hug somebody, do you turn around to everybody and say, listen, I've been doing this for 50 years. I know how to hug. Get back, everybody. I'm just about to hug somebody. So, if somebody falls, what do? Well, you'll go over and help them up. Well, do you need permission to do that? Do you need expertise to lift them up and help them and look after them? No, you don't. It's I remember I told you the story about being in Germany, and this woman fell, and she was fairly in her late 80s, I would say, and she fell, and she was a mess. She just cut herself awfully, and she got onto the bus, and the guy who accidentally pushed her just didn't really acknowledge it, and she was bleeding. It was awful, and I'm like, what? She gets onto the bus, didn't even do anything, and I thought, this is ridiculous. And I ran to the front. I don't speak German. Ran to the front of the bus. Said to the driver, "Have you got a first aid kit?" He gave it me. I went there, and I'm getting all these things. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was getting these things out. Antiseptic. Put it onto there. Put it on there. Wrapped it around her leg. Got this and put it on there. She never said a word. She was thankful, but she never said a word. Nobody else even looked. They were just turning away. And when she got off, right, the guy who pushed her accidentally got off too, and then I realized they were together. What is this world coming to? So I realized that, when you're that kind of person and you want to help somebody, you don't need a certificate. Certainly not a pure energy healing certificate. And a lot of people get very upset with me. Because at the end of a pure energy healing academy course, I said to them, I know you're all happy with that certificate and it means the world to you. But let me say one thing. The day you burn that certificate and throw it away is the day that you become the best healer in the world. And they look at me as if there's something wrong with me. And I said, look, you've got to understand that when you look at that certificate is basically something that never lets you go any further. This is who I am. No, you're not. That certificate isn't who you are. You're much more than that, but you can't go any further because look at my certificate, everybody on the wall. Actually, you're more, and you should be growing much more than the certificate. So get rid of it because that limits you. It doesn't make you better, even though you might think you feel better. And, I get it that a lot of people feel proud, but I remember burning all mine and think, no, that's not who I am. I'm not a pure energy healer. I am me. And that's why I said, when you become a pure energy healer, you don't say I'm a pure energy healer. You say I'm a healer. And whatever practice you go into and what diverse, beautiful way you find yourself flowing in your own uniqueness, then call yourself whatever you want thereafter. All you did was come to learn the basics of healing here. That's all. And yes, you feel amazing, you feel brilliant, and you like the piece of paper, but you're worth more than the paper. So what is healing? And what does healing do? And how do we pinpoint where healing needs to take place to make the difference? If you think about life itself, and you think about your journey up to this moment, if I was to pinpoint a certain place in you, I would first feel the most vulnerable energy. So we can call it the weakest, blocks, issues, trauma, whatever you want to call it. But it's a frequency that vibrates slightly different. And if you go inside and you start scanning your inside, feeling inside, you'll know which is the weakest part that you need to strengthen. So like me, my weakest part I need to strengthen is here. My heart is fine, stomach is brilliant, body feels great, energy feels great, just always a bit stubborn up here, always a bit stubborn. And I'd like to be more, not to knee-jerk as much, because I tend to knee-jerk quite a lot, especially when I see people, things are happening to people and people are forcing people to do stuff. Then yeah, I'm kind of defensive and saying, no, leave people alone. Let people have free will. Give them the choice to do what they want, but don't tell them what they should and shouldn't do. I'm totally anti people telling somebody what to do. That's why you'll never hear me tell you what to do. I recommend this. Here's what I do. I've tried this. It worked. See if it works for you. I don't tell you what to do. I would never tell you what to do because who says I'm right? It might be right for me today, but it might not be right tomorrow. So does that make me right today and wrong tomorrow? Or wrong tomorrow and right today? It's ridiculous. It is what it is. But leave people be. Let them make the choice. That's why they came here, powerful souls as we are. So the first thing I like to do is, these hands are extremely powerful, yet you don't need to use them because you can pull the energy straight in. But I really like to use the hands because there's something in it. When you look at, the pictures of all the kind of the gurus in the world, they've always got one hand and one hand. So one hand to receive, one hand to blast out. Okay, giving, receiving, giving. So I like that, and it's always sat well with me. But then I can turn very easily to both hands and use them. And then I direct the energy of sucking that energy in through the top or through my feet, depending if I'm on Mother Earth, or the higher up I am, I receive from above. So that's wonderful as well. If you might be asking yourself now, oh, what did he mean by, spirit coming? Can you ask spirit to come? I ask anybody to come, whoever it may be, whether you believe in. I don't really go on labels, so I really struggle with that. I struggle with Archangel Michael. It's okay, that's okay. If it makes you feel better and that you feel that he's come, that's okay. I sometimes feel my mum come or somebody else, but ultimately I don't ever ask for anybody to come. What I do though is I am open to receiving love and light, and if spirit does is kind enough to show their presence in helping, it's like, oh, this is great, this is a helping hand. So I never ask in that sense. I might ask. I might ask for, the love of spirit to come, but never really kind of insist or expect, right? It's a kind of invitation, and if they come, that's beautiful. But if they don't come, it means that that energy wasn't needed, and the energy from the universe is given to that client. So it was never like, oh, I wish Archangel so-and-so Metatron came, or whoever. I've never been that person to ask for anybody specific. What I did notice is my mum came a lot of the times, and when teenagers came, certain people that I felt from the spirit world that were in this world when I met them, and like Shirley would come, and sometimes Penelope, and sometimes Brian, and my mum, and then it just depends. And then some people came that I didn't know who they were, and then when I finished working on them, somebody would say, oh, I felt my grandma, and then I'd say, wow, I felt somebody here, and then I'd say, I'm just looking at a really large cross. It's massive and it's gold. This was just one memory, one large cross. It went right down, and it was like this, but it was a big one, and then right in the middle of it had a ruby. And then they'd start crying and say, oh my God, my grandma had that same thing. And then they'd bring it in and show it me, and it'd be like, I can't believe that. It's like wow, really? That's it? And so people would bring stuff in to confirm things, and they'd say, you really do see? And I say, well, I don't know. It feels like it. I don't know whether it's real. I don't know if it's not like it's stood there saying, hey, Mark, here, tell them this. It's like it's whispers and feelings. So I know I'm diverting a little bit, but I'm coming to the right thing soon. So when I sit down, the first thing I ask is, what is it? What I struggle with in life that upsets me and that I knee-jerk and I struggle with. Then I ask myself, what is it in a physical manner that I need to fix and heal? So let me just say, if I was to say that I have a lower back issue, I would look to see what that lower back issue is. There's always three factors in any form of healing. One is the obvious, which is if you're lifting too much weight and you're really straining from day to day. Maybe that's one thing. The other thing could be the spiritual aspect of it. So somebody's saying nasty things about you and pointing the fingers behind your back. There's a reason why they say behind your back. It's not just because you're not seeing it, because people actually say it in front of your face, but you feel it behind your back. And it's funny that when you feel it, normally the back and the front is representative of the same thing, in my opinion. So when people say, I've got a bad back, do you need me to turn over on my front? And I'll say, no, I can work from where your belly is, because ultimately the belly is connected to the back. It goes straight the way through. So there is something in that. What I'm trying to say is that when somebody says something awful to you and you find out that they've said it because it's either behind your back or they've said it to your face, that energy normally sits in the stomach. Well, that's funny. Why is it that it affects the back? So that's why I believe a lot of people suffer with bad back. Now, not always, but a lot. And that is because they've held on to a lot of pain that didn't belong to them, that some cruel people who were going through some terrible issues themselves needed to use somebody as an emotional punch bag. So then they find ways to release. Instead of going to the gym and releasing and letting go of that, they release it on people that they find it easy to release on, easy targets, soft, kind, gentle people. So they attack them. That's the nature of the beast within humanity. That's why you have so much bullying in playgrounds, Because when somebody's having a very bad day at school, or they're jealous or angry, it's because they're lacking in either love. So look, if you believe that you're beautiful looking, you don't have an issue with another boy, right? If you believe that you are funny and you have got a great character and you believe that you are really wonderful, you're not going to worry about another boy talking to people. Because every time we get angry, it's a reflection of our weaknesses, of what we wish we were and we believe that we are not. So we've either convinced ourselves that we're not good enough, they're better than us, and thus we become angry because we don't look at ourselves and ask ourselves why. Well, as children, it's very difficult to do that because the schooling system won't allow that. It just does not allow that. It will never allow that. And it should be part of sitting in a group, in a circle, and all the kids talking. And the way you do that is by saying to the children, would anybody like to say something nice about Jenny? Does anybody know anything that you'd like to say about Tommy? Does anybody like to, what do you think of Tommy, anybody? Would anybody like to say, yeah, I think Tom is this, and I think he's so that, and then Tommy starts feeling like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was like that. Because how many people look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm amazing, I'm brilliant? Very few, okay? So we need that. See, I'm diversing again. Okay, so I'm sat here and I'm looking at my reflection, and the way I this is actually really important when you're a healer. If you can look at your reflection and be honest. It's the hardest thing in the world, to be honest in your mirror, and look at the flaws that you believe you have, that your mind has told you, which are not flaws. They're just part of the journey of you becoming bigger, stronger, powerful, and more amazing. Because when you look back after you've fixed them, you'll be proud of yourself. So what is it that you want to fix yourself with and say, you know what, I didn't realize how bad I was, but then when I looked at it and focused on it and started doing the healing work, it's gone now, and I am a better version than myself. So that's what a healer does. A healer pinpoints those weak points in you, and they blast energy to clear away or strengthen, blast energy into that place to strengthen it. So if let's say you've got grief because you've lost somebody and you're never going to feel like you're ever going to get over it. Somebody just left you and you thought that you were going to spend the rest of your life with them. The place you are targeting is the heart, because the heart feels that grief and that loneliness and that hole that's now appeared because something's gone. So filling that hole in would be, again, one hand to hold out to say yes please or put down gently, and the other one on your heart. And then you would be receiving healing through the breath, breathing in through the nose, blowing out through the mouth. It's always good to use cleansing sticks to start with. I always use my cleansing sticks. I always use sage before I start. And I always prepare myself with the right oil. So which oil would I use? Well, I'd be using healing heartache oil at the moment. So I'd be rubbing that on there, which is a rose, beautiful rose. And then I'd put my hand there. I'd breathe it in first of all and just place my hand there. And for the next, with the music on, nice music, for the next 15-20 minutes, depending on how, I would just fully focus on that, in the sense of leaving my hands in these positions. So one hand here comfortable, down there, facing up, so you're receiving, and the other hand on your heart, and then breathing, and then just see what happens. At that same time, I would be open to being honest, and I would be then having a spiritual conversation, not with my mind, with myself. Your mind is not yourself. Your mind is a tool, so tell it to shut up. You're talking to you now, which is the spirit within. That's who you are. The bodysuit is nothing. It's just movement and feeling. But you yourself is inside here, and it represents the heart. The heart then admits an energy, which is called the life force. So you are the life force in truth, but it resides in the heart area. So you start to have a conversation with the heart, or you don't. Just see what happens. So as you just breathe in through the nose and blow out through the mouth, follow the music, listen to it, it's beautiful. And then If something decides to come up and talk to you, it will. Now, there is a magic 7 days. It's a seed of light that it's like magic. It comes from the universe, from spirit, it comes from somewhere. And it's a little seed of light that goes after the healing session inside where your hand is. So you place the seed of light there and the seed of light grows. And I used to say to my clients for many years, you've got 7 days now to nurture this energy. And what happens is that seed starts to grow into a beautiful light and starts to give you information and starts to help you along your journey of your spiritual path. So look after it and never let anger, fear, doubt, worry, any kind of conflict interfere with its seed. Protect it. Just walk away from any of that. Don't look at it. Just walk away and spend time in nature, eat well, drink well, look after your body, exercise, and do all the things that your body requires. Okay? So, in that 7 days of healing, after that short, brief moment of healing, you'll find that in those days something will pop up. And it might be a memory. It might be a smell. It might be visual, something you see visual. But it's something that helps release the trapped energy, block, trauma, and just you feel better and it's released. And then all of a sudden, the grief isn't as bad. The loss of a partner who's maybe gone off with somebody else doesn't feel as bad anymore. So this is a way of strengthening your whole body, spirit, and life force, because the greatest battle we have is that the mind is always trying to tell you what's gone wrong. Whereas if you listen to your spirit, who you are, you'll realize that that wasn't wrong. He didn't go for that reason. And my mum didn't die because it was bad luck. You know, or he just went off for another woman, and that's my luck, and look what's happened to me. That's not that reason at all. And you only know this in the future. And then when you look back on your life, you'll say, now I understand why you went. But you don't understand it at that moment. So your brain tries to work out what's going on. So you now enter into conflict and what ifs, problems, and I'm never going to hold her again, and I'm never going to, love another man. I hate what he did and what they're doing. And so we create our own really, really negative pantomime. It really is. It's a clown show, and it's nothing to do with reality at all. Even though you feel it, it's nothing to do with it. And only in time you understand all of that was BS. But you can actually live in that for the rest of your life till you drop down dead. But that is an illusion that you create, and that's your own pantomime you're making. So I learn in healing to let things go. It doesn't matter. Guess what's just happened? Okay, let it go. It's okay, let it go. Yeah, but just let it go. It's okay. Yeah, but we need to. No, you don't need to. Why? Why do you need to? You don't need to. Just let it go. Letting it go is much better than fighting about it, screaming about it, shouting about it. And that energy just builds up and builds up. And, there is a fine line between talking about something in a way that helps you release via hand on heart and feeling it and talking about it in here, and the other talking about it when all you're doing is chasing your tail like a dog, fighting, never come up with any answers. Everything's a wreck, everything's a mess, everything goes wrong up here. That's what the brain does. It's an automatic response system. Waste of time, waste of energy, waste of space. The brain is only there as a tool to look left and right when you cross the road. That's it. Everything else, shut up. Don't try to make and tell me what's gone on between him doing that and that person dying. Just stop. Stop. So I learned to stop all of that. And prior to that, I was the biggest chaser of the tail. I would chase my tail faster than any single human being on this. I could chase my tail faster than any dog. And I got nowhere fast. And what a waste of energy. When you learn to step back and become a healer, you see that the work's done for you. You see that actually when you talk from your mouth and you waste your energy, actually you stand back and think, oh my God, why did I do that? And it's amazing The more healing you do on yourself, the less you want to talk. The more you start to get stronger and happier, the more you don't need to be around people, and the more you get comfortable in your own life, and the more you start to love your own life. And actually at that point you start thinking, do I actually want to be with anybody anyway, because I really love my own life? So then you've got to figure that one out as well. But there is a path, a point where you can't tell me that you're not going to be happy if you're on your own, because I'll say you're absolutely wrong. It's actually one of the most beautiful moments of your life. And I used to say to a lot of women, they'd just split up from their partner, and they'd sit there and like, when will I meet somebody again? Are you serious? You've just split up from a relationship for 7 years, the itch, and you're now itching for another one. Are you kidding me? Why don't you just enjoy yourself at the moment? Because you'll soon be in a relationship, and then you might wish you were single again. So just enjoy it. Don't rush into another relationship. We rush into everything thinking that we need to fill the hole in of something because we fear what somebody else might think. Oh, you're single. Oh, what's wrong with you then? I actually think the other way around now when I see single people. Wise. Don't get me wrong, I don't advocate people being on their own, but I do believe that a lot of the times that we end up in tremendous pain and suffering because we're in a relationship and we don't find ourselves, because we're too busy looking after nurturing that relationship and we forget about ourselves. Finding a relationship where your partner gives you the space, well, I shouldn't say that, when your partner honors you, that your space is your space and hers or his is theirs, and you respect each other for whatever you want to do without, needing to know everything and wanting to know everything. It's like a noose around people's necks, and actually let them be. If you I won't do that because he might cheat. Well, if he's going to cheat, he's going to cheat. If you tie him to the post here like a dog, he's going to resent that. But you know what? It will be what will be. If you're meant to be together, you will be. If you won't, doesn't matter if you time there. So let people be. Just leave people to be. Don't get demanding. Stop pushing. Stop forcing. Don't want this and that because you fear not being with somebody. You fear getting old on your own. That's all your weaknesses. That's all your fears. Well, that doesn't create a healthy relationship in a healing manner. It creates stress, it creates worry, it creates tension, and it certainly doesn't help you. So you learn to understand as a healer what's going on around you and how people get into physical issue and emotional trauma. And ultimately, it's very easy to heal. You just need to pinpoint and find that place. So let's go back to healing. There is a point where, as a healer, we can feel certain things on the body. And if you don't really understand that, and you didn't, and then you sat down and listened to yourself and thought, okay, which is the weakest part of my body? What needs to be strengthened if I could make it stronger? Okay, so I knee jerk a lot. So it's going to be up here on my head because it's the first thing that I see. It's my eyes and my head, and I knee jerk. So I'll be looking for that energy, and like round about here is where I can feel the heat growing and growing. So it's like hotter and colder, and it's here. It's just there. So as soon as I get that, I place my hand there, go down and put my knee on my, I put my elbow on my knee so it's comfortable. Remember, always keeping this hand like that, and then stay there so I'm comfortable. If you feel comfortable like this, stay like this. Again, if you start feeling any pain, any like sharp pains or any sharp headaches or any pains in the body, smile and say good, because that's called detoxing. So that's a healing detox, a spiritual healing detox. So there's lots of things that are trapped in there. When you open up something that you don't know, you can sometimes feel that pain release, and it can be awful. It can be really awful. You can have a tremendous pain after a healing session, but the next day you've like, wow, I don't suffer anymore. But I suffered that night, yeah, because you were releasing something that was trapped there for a long, long time. So scanning the body is a wonderful thing. So like I said, if I have an issue with, if I'm always you know, I don't want to talk about jealousy so much or bitterness. And I'm talking about you receiving energy from people and suffering from it. So certain people can and put on you, like same as like you go to work and there's a lot of heaviness being put onto you. You normally find that on the shoulders and the top of the neck. So the pain is here. So there are points where you can swap hands and just and do that. Again, one hand here, doesn't matter which hand, the other hand on there, and just breathe and rub healing oil. And here, because of the weight, I'd be putting on something like Palo Santo. So I'd be putting on, probably, I'd be rubbing on sacred oil on here, but maybe healing oil. And then when I finish that, swap and do it that side. And then go to the back, one hand or two hand. If you're going with two hands, then you're going to receive from here. If you get on Mother Earth and your feet are on the floor, then you're receiving coming up and it'll come through your hands on here. Again, you can also hold your hand out if you want that way. And just by doing that, like I said, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if you want to go a little bit longer, fabulous. And if you do that on a daily basis, then that seed of light grows stronger. If you do it once a week, it's fine. Once a week's fine as well. So always remember that X never always marks the spot. So if you're talking to yourself, it normally might guide you somewhere else. So be open to be guiding with your hands to somewhere else. There's many times I've gone to the side of me and thought, why am I here? I thought it was somewhere else. Okay, just stay there. So you might get guided to your stomach, your knee, your foot. You might get guided to, I don't know, up here or solar plexus or wherever you go. Just follow that guidance. And that kind of healing is incredible. Now, if you're going to give somebody a healing, I would suggest make sure they're comfortable. Make sure they are in acceptance. If it's your child when they're asleep or your partner when they're asleep, no problem. Put your hand just above their head. If they're sleeping like that, just do that where their head is, like that. And just leave it there with the other hand there, 15, 20 minutes, and then that's it. I know probably about 50, maybe more, that mums learned a little bit of healing from me, did a few days course, and then went home and started giving their children healing through the day, at night, or in the morning. And their night terrors disappeared, their bullying disappeared, their fears disappeared. They grew stronger and happier. And that was like a little miracle all the time. So that was really lovely to see. And children are very easy to heal, very easy. And they very quickly shift their energy. So they can be really in sadness and pain, and they can switch their energy very quickly. So, you don't always think that they're going to be stuck with this energy all the time, especially if you're healing them. And that clears. If you're always unsure where to go when you're giving somebody a healing session, the three places which I always say, if you've no idea what you're doing, the three places where you will always get really good hits, or what I mean by that is it will always show in a positive way, is the stomach, is the heart, and the head. Those three places, if you place your hands on there, just gently, just be like a butterfly. And like I said, if you can just be there for 15 minutes, I tell you, makes a massive difference. Huge difference. So healing is an ancient art of a hug, an ancient art of giving, and an ancient art of feeling. And by sharing this energy, it's a wonderful thing. The one thing that I often say to people is that there's two ways of healing, and there's only one way really of healing. So the two ways, like one way is you give somebody healing and it works, or you don't. So there's those two things. But the other point I was trying to make is when you're healing somebody, if you don't feel, we say don't get personal. And the reason why is because when you get personal, really personal, you start giving your energy. And that to me is always a mistake, because that is not what healing is about. Healing is about receiving a universal energy that comes into you and pours through you and goes into somebody that you love or somebody that you know, or a stranger, whatever. But don't use your own energy, because that energy is for your life force. When you use your own energy, which normally comes from the heart, and I see often done when people really want that person to feel better, they become too personal. Okay, I really need them to be better. No, just it will be what will be. So again, hold your hand there, and if your mind always starts to kick in, trying to tell you, oh, are you doing the right thing? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Why am I doing it? Am I doing it right? All of these things, that's what the mind does. The mind does its best to try and stop you from being the great person that you are and the powerful person that you are. It's not your fault. It's programming. It's school and all the system programming. So you're going to have to tell that to shut up. And then just let the work be done. And then that's it. You walk away and say, okay, that's it. Did my bit. I hope it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Don't think about it anymore. Don't talk about it. Don't wish for it. Don't want to see what happens. Just give it and I'm done with it. Like you would make somebody something to eat and it's over and done with. Same thing. Just do it and let it go. A lot of healers make the mistake and start thinking, oh, I hope they're okay. I hope they're okay. And then you're sending that negative energy to them. That's fear. And you're connecting to them. Not healthy, not good. So as soon as you're finished, let it go and then move on. And you'll find that these little things make a huge difference in time. And, your clients are thankful for you. Your family's thankful for it. And even if they're not thankful for it, I am thankful that you've done it, because it's a beautiful thing and it's an ancient art which has been killed and suppressed. And to this day, they're trying to stop us right now. They're trying to stop us breathe. They're trying to stop us eat healthy. They're trying to stop us taking healthy teas. They're trying to kill everything because they know the power of humanity is incredible. So if they can poison it, if they can hijack it, if they can brainwash it, then humanity will end up just walking robots. And that's what a lot of people are to today. But you're not. You are healthy. You're strong. You are inquisitive, you want to learn more, you want to strengthen your own life, you want to create a purpose, you want to walk your path, you want to know who you are and why you're here. And that's a beautiful thing. Don't ever stop and keep searching the world, okay? But I do promise you this, you will search the world as we all did to try and find certain things, but ultimately, you'll always come back to yourself and realize everything was all inside there. You just needed to tap into it. And by healing yourself, I promise you, it's another way that you break the walls down and you crack open that door with a key. And that's called healing. And I realized very soon when I started healing, it's really so profound. I understand why this universe tries its best to suppress it. So become a healer and be the most amazing soul in the world. I think there's only a few people, there's only a few spaces left for this coming, I think it's next week, is it Sunday? I think it's on the 3rd, and it's to spend 2 hours with me to learn how to read flowers, and it's beautiful. So I don't know if it's full or not, but there might be a few places left. I can't remember. I think it was mentioned 2 days ago, but I think we're just about full. So you're going to really enjoy that, and so am I. It's the first time I've actually really done this. So it's going to be a 2-hour deep introduction into all aspects of reading flowers, how you read them, and yeah, you might really enjoy it. So I might see you on Sunday. I'll leave the link below, and thank you guys. Everything I've mentioned today, I'll leave the links below, and have a great day. Shine bright, guys.